some music before.
Yes, she's going to play some other music first. So focus on her playing, if that's okay. Okay, for the first card. I serve as pastor here at St. Paul's Lutheran Church. We're glad that you decided to tune in today and to listen to our little show of Faith in Leaders, where we learn about leaders both present and past while looking toward the future. It's a great day here at St. Paul's. We're busier than we've ever been in spite of the pandemic and everything else that goes on. We're really glad that you've chosen to hear us today and to join us in the conversation. Today is going to be a special day. We're fortunate to have a guest, and her name is Frances Danzeisen, and I'm going to introduce her later. Longtime member, all of our members know who she is. She and Cecil have been institutions of this church for many, many years, and we're going to hear about some stories of years past. Things that I know, and maybe some things that I don't know, because every time I visit her, there's something new that I learn about our church. And I want us to sort of remember them and have a record of them as well. It's a lot of fun to talk with her, and I know you're going to enjoy it too. Now, our psalm tonight is Psalm 128. It's another one of the short psalms. Jim, would you read it for us?
Sure. And it says, 128, Blessed are all who fear the Lord, who walk in obedience to him. You will eat the fruit of your labor. Blessings and prosperity will be yours. Your wife will be like a fruitful vine within your house. Your children will be like olive shoots around the table. Yes, this will be the blessing for the man who fears the Lord. May the Lord bless you from Zion. May you see prosperity of Jerusalem all the days of your life. May you live to see your children's children. Peace be on Israel.
All right. It's a very short one. It's what's known as an ascent psalm. It's trying to say, let's look towards the better things. Remember who we're supposed to be. And I don't know if I want to tell my wife that she would be like a fruitful vine within our house. However, what does that mean by being a fruitful vine?
Well, then you're going to prosper, and your wife will love you and prosper.
Prosper, and she will be a blessing. Like you think of a vine
that spreads out.
Spreads out in many places and is abundant and fruitful.
And it also refers to because of the guy. It's really a twofold thing, because first off, it says the guy will eat the fruit of his labors. He shows his love to his wife. He cherishes his kids. He works hard. He provides. She returns that to him, and then the kids
will be like olive shoots. Now, what do you suppose that is? What is it with olives?
They were, I don't know. I like olives on pizza.
Olives are, now, let me tell you, you got to remember in Hebrew days, olive oil, and still to this day, you can see the trees of olives in modern day Israel. And everything seems to have olive oil on it. It's used for cooking, it's used for seasoning. It's an important part of eating and treating yourself well.
It goes back to the time, probably some of these offshoots of the olive trees were around when
Jesus was around or before.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like the kids will be abundant. They will love too. Remember, they always say that kids will not listen to what you say, but they're going to do what you do.
Right.
If you say one thing and tell them, like, don't smoke, and as you sit there smoking, they're going to say, well, what, I'm going to smoke, you're doing it. They're not going to listen to what
Or my favorite is when the kids, and I've had this happen as a pastor, visiting people's homes, and then the kids will come out with a naughty swear word. The parent will go, my goodness, Johnny, where did you hear that? And then one time the kid actually said, well, you say it all the time. And I couldn't help but to start laughing and yet go, it's okay, I didn't grow up in a barn.
Yeah.
But, parents are important. But the thing about olive shoots is it's a sign of prosperity. And the other thing, when I was in Israel, do you know there's like several dozens of different types of olives? There's not just one black or green. You have many different kinds and sizes and different tastes of olives. So it's like there's a diversity of, from around the world, olives. They're not all the same. It's not like one watermelon is all the same like other watermelons.
Well, I like the ending part when it says that you may see the prosperity of Jerusalem all the days of your life. And may you live to see your children's children. peace
Yes.
on his, I mean, wouldn't that be a blessing if we could, if
All see our
all of us lived to see
great-grandkids.
our children's children, and there would be peace in the world?
Right.
I mean, that is a great promise, something that we all look forward to, peace, getting along, acceptance, living by the laws and the thing, and this.
And walking first in the fear of the Lord, and the result of that fear of the Lord is
The promise of peace.
the promise of peace from Jerusalem and Zion, and it coming into your own home. You know, this had to be one of the top 10 Psalms when you wanted to feel better, that's for sure.
Well, it is a good time, and we should say more, because, well, right now, we are hoping this shot is gonna make things different. We're
Yes.
Opened up, we're gonna have, maybe we can have a big celebration here on Easter, if things go great, if that very well great, we may be able to say.
We hope to know in the next few days if we're going to be able to meet in February,
person,
meet in church.
So, but even if things don't pan out completely the way we want, we still have that hope in God that it will happen. It's not like, oh, well, see, it didn't work out,
Right.
and that's it. But I have to tell you a quick story. You're talking about people saying things.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you this, but when I didn't do it, I'm off the hook.
All right.
Now, Marianne has seen it, well, we only have one bird left, not two. Marianne has seen our African grades.
Yeah.
Well, when Joyce, our friend was here,
Yeah.
doing the diagonal, she came over and was talking to Pam and I, and she was looking at the birds, and Popeye, and I didn't teach him, believe me. All of a sudden, he just looked at him, and we had taught him to say, praise the Lord, love you.
Right.
And of course, what he says is, hey, Suxy, what are you doing tonight?
Uh-oh.
To your minister, Joyce.
Yes, and I'm standing there, and I says, and she looked at me like, what, I didn't, so I called him Al, that time the kids were little, Al, come down here. Did you? What? Yeah. He said, yeah, I'm going to be beating it. He picks it up and he I said, why? You more times since a bird have to act like that? Because he said something more religion. But it's funny. She laughed. She laughed.
Joyce would take that well.
Yeah, I mean, I was embarrassed. It was embarrassed. But Al said, yeah, I've been teaching a lot of these. Yeah, we know, ball spears.
Okay.
But I mean, it is funny.
Oh, goodness. But in any case, this is a song of ascents. It is a song of hope and joy, and it just seemed like a good one to have tonight.
It was a great one to have.
All right, well, would you do us the favor of escorting our guest
I
down
sure would be honored.
so that she
Come
doesn't
on up,
trip over these
Francis.
stairs?
I'm gonna
Francis
help.
Danzeisen, as I said before, has been one of our longest-serving members. She's a terrific person. It's been my honor to know her and to know Cecil. I mean, when I think of St. Paul's, I can't help but to think of theirs and Geraldine Manners and some other people. And you're also his cousin, Gene, was one of the very first, he was a dairy farmer right over here, right?
Yeah.
And he took me to Gene Danzeisen, one of my first pastoral visits. And I will never forget Gene, because he's the only parishioner, I'd never had this happen. And he said, well, Mr. Jim, before we let him go, we need to pray for him. And I thought, oh no, he thinks I'm such a bad pastor, I need to be prayed for. But it was such a wonderful prayer, and you could get a sense of spirituality from Gene.
That's right.
And this was a real, strong Lutheran man of
His
faith.
mother was too.
His mother was a woman of faith too.
Yes.
And he was just something else. And I will never forget, that was the very first call I made. And Jim was there helping me meet people. And then he said, well, you're going to know Danzeisens. And sure enough, I got to know you Danzeisens, let me
Yeah,
tell you.
there was a few of us.
So tell us about your own faith journey. You started off not in a Lutheran church, but where did you grow up and what kind of farm and so forth?
Well, I grew up in Erie.
You grew up in Erie, okay?
Yeah.
Which part of Erie or where?
We lived on, well, it was Lakeside Road then.
Okay.
We was on the border between Ida and Erie.
Oh my goodness, all right.
And Bedford.
Right,
Crossroad, because we lived in the corner of a crossroad. And our corner was Erie, the corner was Bedford.
Okay.
And the other corner was it, Ida, or Mason.
So which school did you go to then?
I went to a little school over on Rock Road.
On Rock Road, okay, so
An eight-room schoolhouse.
an 8-room schoolhouse, and you had
Well,
nobody in your class?
Eighth grade, one room.
One room for 8 grades?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yowza. Oh my
You
goodness.
know, one of those little old-fashioned schools.
And your dad was a dairy farmer, right?
Dairy farmer and worked in a factory.
So he was a gentleman's farmer before it was a big deal. So he worked at the city at night and then came to the country?
No, he worked in Toledo at Spicer.
At Spicer. And what did Spicer do? Forgive me for not
They
knowing.
were automotive parts, or pipes, parts,
Automotive parts. Okay, so he made parts. He was a machine shop worker?
yeah.
Okay, and then he would come and he'd take care of your
Yeah,
cows?
we had cows, we had about 10 cows.
And did you have to milk them, or did you have milkers, or
We
just?
had milkers,
Wow, okay. That's not easy work, that's
No.
really hard. You had to get up every morning early.
yeah, we had to get up every morning, milk, and my 2 brothers got up in the morning and did the milking usually before they went to school.
And so it was your 2 brothers, you and a sister, right? Okay, so you went to Catholic church, growing up as a kid?
Yeah,
And then how did you and Cecil meet?
well, we were in 4-H together.
Okay. What were your projects in 4-H?
Well, we both had dairy cattle,
Really?
yes, but he had Guernseys, I had Jerseys.
Okay. Oh my goodness, so you were competing against each other and with
Well,
each other?
yeah, really,
Okay, and then you ended up getting married in 1956.
6. Yeah.
You were the second couple to be married.
Yeah,
Here in this, then, the new church building.
yeah. And then after.
What do you remember about your wedding? I'm just curious. Tell me about it.
Pastor Gilhouse, I can remember his daughter, his oldest daughter, sat, I think it was the second or third seat from the back. And there was a picture of us, we just come in the church, or come in, come down the aisle with my dad.
Right.
And the flower girl. And she was leaning over the seat, just looking, his oldest daughter.
Oh my goodness. Because you had to be a looker and you were all dressed up.
Yeah, I had a gown, a long
Yeah.
gown and everything.
Oh my goodness.
My dad walked me down the aisle, first time he'd been in church in a long time.
Okay. Well, he got up too early to go to church. I mean, by the time
Well,
he'd get done milking the cows and
yeah, on
everything.
Sunday to go to church and milk and everything,
Yeah.
he made sure we went, but,
Okay. So you got married here in this church, and what was it like to go from being Catholic to Lutheran, and what did your parents think about this? Were they okay with it,
he
or?
said, as long as you're happy, as long as
Okay,
you're happy and go to church, I'm happy.
okay.
That was what he installed in all of us, because none of us kids stayed Catholic.
Really?
No,
All of you kids ended up going into other traditions?
but he never said a word. He said, as long as you go to church, I don't care.
Okay.
That was his attitude.
And your mom had passed when you were younger, if I
Yeah, she
remember
passed
right.
when I was 16.
You were 16 and you lost your mom. Oh,
I was a
wow.
freshman in high school.
Okay, so you had to do some,
Yeah, we did a lot.
you did a lot of chores to get
Yeah.
stuff around for your dad. So then when you and Cecil got married, and Cecil was not just an observer of church.
No, he was on the council at the time when we got married.
Really, that young, he was on the council already?
Yeah.
Okay.
That young.
He wasn't that young? Oh, how young was he?
He was 24,
That's still pretty young. 24 to be on council, that's great.
and one of the first jobs him and his mother put me on was, it was after the church was built. They used to cook meals over at the Rotary, for
Right.
the Rotary Club, to make money pay for the kitchen.
Okay.
With equipment and stuff in the kitchen.
So you would have to cook meals
Well,
over,
I went over and helped her after I worked.
okay,
See, I worked, yeah, I was still working when we got
Yeah.
married.
okay.
And so that was one of the things the Alder Guild did, the Alder Guild. Every week or whenever they had their meetings.
Oh, they had it every week, the Rotary. I'm part of the Rotary, so yes. I like to
And they
eat.
cooked their meal,
Okay,
for for the money as they put it in the kitchen.
Okay,
And I used to, after stop home from work,
and that's how we got our kitchen paid for in here.
kitchen and all the equipment in it,
Because it had the dishwasher and
yeah.
all of the big oven and everything. Wow. So what did you think of the Lutheran church? What did you find different? What was hard?
The only difference I noticed was confession.
Okay,
I mean, you know, the difference in confession.
all right. So that you didn't have to go to confession as
Yeah,
much as you
yeah,
did in the Catholic Church. Okay. But everything else seemed...
Yeah, the prayers pretty much are the same,
Okay.
because the Apostles' Creed isn't changed, and then Our Father isn't changed.
No, that's all the same.
You don't use the Hail Mary, but,
Okay.
so,
But we still have great respect for Mary.
yeah,
We really do.
yeah,
So you raised Ivan and then Margie,
Yeah.
right? So Ivan was the oldest, I
Yeah.
think. Okay.
yeah. They were, Pastor Gilhouse baptized Ivan, and Pastor Muller baptized Margie.
Margie, okay.
Because Pastor Gilhouse was just here another year, and then he moved down to Columbus.
Okay. So what was it like to have a young family? We had a lot of young
Yeah,
families.
the church was full every Sunday.
Okay. Church was full, yeah.
And I really, well, Cecil was active, I wasn't because I was still working,
Right.
and I really didn't get active until after the kids were born.
Okay. And then you got into Christian education.
Yeah.
What did you do with Christian education?
Well, Christian education, at 3 years old, we had classes, and Lou Watling
Okay.
had it, and I as helper assisted, and we had a class down in the little room where the fuse box is. We had at least 30 kids every Sunday.
30 kids at that?
33-year-olds
33-year-olds in that tiny little room.
in that tiny little room.
And how did you ever control them or
Oh, there
clean
was
them?
me, Lou, and another, Dorothy. They moved back to Toledo. I was trying to think of
Dorothy
her.
Meyer?
No.
No?
Anyway, there was the three of us were 3-year-olds.
Oh my goodness. And so you would do teaching there.
We had music, we had games, and not a little story, but not a whole lot, because we figured 2 or 3 minutes an interest, that, you know, that they could absorb, and otherwise we kept them real busy.
Great.
And we had to separate a few of them because they were either brothers or cousins or...
Right.
So you put one in one end of the room and the other one next to you or whatever.
You keep peace among the kids,
Yes.
and that way
Yeah.
you can...
You know, you kind of separated them so that they weren't too close to each other, so they didn't...
So then did Sunday school take place after church or during church?
After church.
So you had these 30 kids in church and then afterwards?
They weren't all in church. There was a few of them because this was between the two services. Some went to early church and some went to late
Later
church.
church, okay.
So,
But you still had a lot of kids in church?
Yeah. I taught them, was in there for 10 years.
Oh my goodness, okay. And you had some, can you tell us one or two, because if you can tell me the story of, you ran in to one pastor, and you were determined that it was going to be one way, and he was determined it was going to be another.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Don't say the name of the pastor,
Well,
but just tell us what happened.
there was a family that wanted to join the church. They had a 2-year-old.
Every pastor's dream. We love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And they come and they said they'd join the church. You could go to catechism or Sunday school. And I said, no.
Really?
Yes,
And
I
why
told,
did you say no?
because I says a 2-year-old can't keep up with a 3-year-old. We got enough 3-year-olds that a 2-year-old,
It's going to get stopped or something.
no, and he's gonna sit there and cry because he wants his mama if you kind of scold him or
Okay.
you know, you gotta kind of say, you gotta sit here. You can't be moving around. You can't do this, you know.
Right.
And I said, with 30 other kids,
It's just not going to work. So
Yes.
you said no, they can't.
well, they sent him down for one Sunday. And that's all he did was sit there and cry and cry. And so one of us had to hold him and try to get to class. And I just went up and I said, I'm sorry. I refuse to, he just isn't going to fit in.
Okay. Yep.
Because I think they wanted a babysitter. Because they never showed up in church.
Okay. They only dropped their kids off is what they, okay. So, you know, it's good to know, we often think that's a condition that only happened in modern times.
Yeah,
that you drop
no,
the kids
it's-
off. It was back then too.
Yes, because, well, there's a lot of them just brought them in for Sunday school too.
Okay.
You know, sometimes I
Yeah.
said,
Well, and that happens in all stages.
Yeah,
where sometimes we get taken advantage of.
yeah. they-
Now, you served on other committees. Tell us, you were on altar guild?
Well, and then the first duty I did when I started coming to women's group, kitchen cleaning time.
Oh, my goodness.
So I went in and we did the kitchen, we all cleaned the kitchen and there set the curtains. Nobody volunteered to do them, and I'm sitting there and I said, should I? So I volunteered to do them. I took them home and washed them, and when I washed them, they all fell apart in the washing machine. Because they hadn't been washed, they'd
Wait a
been up
minute, what
there.
fell apart? The dishes?
No, the curtains.
The curtains? Oh.
And I thought, because I was wondering why nobody volunteered. Usually everybody would volunteer to do, but nobody would do. And
Right.
they said it'd been a couple of years since they'd been washed.
Oh, my goodness.
And, well, they were from the sun hitting them all the time.
Right?
They just deteriorated when you washed them.
Oh.
So then the next job was, well, will you go shopping for new curtains?
So they made you do that then?
Yeah, they said, you're volunteering to do it.
Oh, my goodness, that's so unfair.
But I said, that's,
You did it, and
yeah,
we got new curtains.
yeah.
And they're probably still up. No, they're not.
No, the kitchen was back there then.
Oh, it was way in
Way
the back?
back to the kitchen. Kitchen was in the back then.
That's where we have a storage room.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. Did you know that was
No.
the kitchen?
No, I did not.
See, that's
And I can
interesting.
remember, when was it, a month or a year or two ago, somebody was wondering why the septic tank was out in the front yard.
Yeah,
The bathrooms used to be right back there by the door.
really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, so that's
See, when
why.
we built on, they had to take the bathrooms out and move them.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because in the 50s, we built the education wing.
Yeah. 53, I think it was.
Okay,
Or 54, somewhere in there.
yeah.
Yeah, the bathroom used to be straight back there next to the door, because on our wedding, when you were standing there, the men's door is right there. It says men's on our wedding pictures.
It's there in your wedding pictures.
Yeah.
Lovely. Oh my goodness, you gotta show me that sometime. I'd love to see that.